Hello and welcome to the Ascendant Art podcast with your co-host myself, Lil Chad, and then we got Slender Dad over there. How you doing, Slender?
I'm doing well.
Doing well. Good, good, good. So we are gonna do a few things tonight, like we always do. We're gonna talk about streaming ratings, but that'll be towards the end. So that way, spoiler alert: House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings are nowhere to be seen. But that's expected. That's how streaming works nowadays. But we did have some surprise drops today in terms of trailers. We got Indiana Jones 5. Slender, do you know what they're actually what the full title of this one is?
No, I know nothing about it yet.
And I think it is the stupidest title. It is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like Indiana Jones and the Jones of Indiana.
Hmm.
It's not going to be that though.
No, it is not. It is good.
Indiana Jones and the Jones of Power.
No, no. It is. I think it is repetitive. Is that the? Let's see. We've had Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and now Dial of Destiny. I think that's too much, alliteration there. Dial of Destiny. And
Yeah, and it I don't know, it doesn't fit the current naming convention. It kind of goes off the reservation a little.
almost like it's not even going to be a regular Indiana Jones movie. It's like because this is Disney Indiana Jones too. This is the first Indiana Jones under Disney, so it's gonna. I think it's got the gonna get the Last Jedi treatment pretty solid. but but what in a more positive note, they also dropped today, and this is funny because they're both Disney movies. They dropped the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 official trailer. See, that made more sense because they just did that Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
They could
So
have done like Indiana Jones and the Altar of the Sundial or something.
yeah, Alter Thunder. Yeah, I mean that's hmm. No, well, I don't know enough about what the plot is. I know what Doomcock has said the plot is going to be, and I'll give fair spoiler warning when we do our trailer breakdown before I talk about that. I have no idea about the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 storyline. I've been so disinterested in Disney content that I haven't even cared for spoilers. Although I've really enjoyed both Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Guardians of the Galaxy. So I don't know why I've been so blasé about it. But
Yeah, it's because it's Disney, and if I'm honest, Disney Plus is just a constant churn of mediocre to pathetic content. Like even the things that people are like, "Oh, it wasn't half bad," or "It was kind of good." It's like, yeah, kind of good by Disney Plus standards, which is shit by real standards. Like,
it is interesting because Disney is kind of they used to be for kids entertainment, they were the gold standard for a long time.
apparently
Not so
that
much
standard
now.
is also slipping from what I've heard about what was it, Strange World or whatever.
Strange World, their terrible, just horrible bomb that just came out. And but so they've just pumped out like I feel like Disney broke their relationship with fans. I mean, it was never the best with genre fans, but with what they did to Star Wars and have continued to do has just broken. I mean, we have Willow came out this week too, and that is, at least in the fandom communities that I pay attention to, has not gone over very well at all. And I love Willow. I think I mean, it's not Lord of the Rings or anything, but as a child going to see that in the theaters before high fantasy really got its due with the Lord of the Rings movies about 12 years later, Willow was the pinnacle of what a fantasy movie could be in theaters.
Oh, my wife loves Willow too. It's like one of her all-time favorites, and she watched the trailer with me and was like, "It looks like it could be kind of good. Like he's doing cool shit." And I'm like, "All the cool shit you saw him do, that is the coolest shit he did throughout the entire presentation. Like they front loaded it all into that trailer to get you hooked. I guarantee you you won't see any other cool shit if you watch this."
Yeah, and I think Chris Gore was on a few different shows because Disney. This is going to be an 8 episode series, and Disney has sent out seven, the first seven, to reviewers to actually pay check out and watch, and they the words, like some of the descriptions of what's coming up later in Willow is just terrible. Like I think in this, I have to see it, I don't know how far in episode wise it was, but he did describe that there's characters in this high fantasy setting that are wearing blue jeans and cowboy hats. And I'm definitely going to have to see how that gets pulled off, because I don't know why that would be at all.
Blue jeans and cowboy hats.
Mm-hmm.
They must be the racists, huh?
I don't know. I canceled my Disney Plus, and so I was only ever using. I wasn't even using it. It was my son would watch cartoons, the DuckTales cartoons, like the old Mickey Mouse ones, things like that. But that was all we used it for. So I decided when the annual renewal came up and they were going to raise fees and add advertisements in, I was like, no, I don't think I need to pay for what I've been getting, because I didn't watch She-Hulk except for when we covered it on the show and we had the clips. I tried Moon Knight for the first couple episodes, I'm a huge Moon Knight fan, like from the comic books. And I just bailed because it was so terrible. So I see no reason to get Disney Plus. It's just not there. If I was going to get Disney Plus, not to tell people what to do, but if they really wanted to, I would just wait till all the episodes have dropped for the series I wanted to watch. I think a month of Disney Plus is going to be like between $7 or $10, depending on if you get ad supported or not. Just pay for it for 1 month and watch the whole show and then cancel it. That's the go-to move for Disney Plus.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I just can't bring myself to agree with it. Like, if I am paying you for a streaming service, I do not want commercials. You will not put commercials in my streaming service, or why am I paying you for this? Like, there was a time way back in, the ancient days where if you were watching commercials, it was on a channel that you didn't even have to pay for.
Yeah, wasn't that crazy? And they have streaming services where you do that. I am actually a pretty big fan of Tubi. It's a streaming service that doesn't cost me a dime. It has ads, but they're not obnoxious in terms of the amount of ads on it. And they have the old G1 Transformers, they have G.I. Joe, that basically a lot of the old Hasbro cartoons. My wife likes it because they have Gem and the holograms on there, and she liked that when she was little. But they have movies and other content, and it doesn't cost me anything. So I'm going to start watching Tubi more, because if I'm going to have ads on my content, I don't want to pay for it. I have Hulu because I'm grandfathered in because it was included with my cell phone plan, but I wouldn't pay for it because there's ads on it. It's ridiculous, the idea of paying for a streaming service that has ads. And I get that some people would point out that basic cable channels also had ads and you were effectively paying for them too. But I would say when I had cable, I got like 100 basic cable channels for like $50 a month. I mean, there's a lot more channels per dollar in that equation. And even then, I got annoyed at how much cable costs, and I canceled it to get streaming services because I thought it would be cheaper. And man, it just started creeping up. Like Netflix is like over $20 now.
Yeah, and I mean, back in the day, there were like, you had Netflix, YouTube, and a couple of other options, but now it's like every fucking channel that used to all be lumped together in a cable package. Now every channel is like, buy our streaming service for just $9.99 a month, and then you put 15 of those together, and you're paying twice what you would have paid for a basic cable package, and a basic cable package would have had all those channels.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like. That's where it needs to go. They need to consolidate back um, into just. I Netflix was really the best value when all the content was going there. When they had Disney movies, when they had Warner Brother, because they didn't have their own streaming services, or Netflix just licensed it, and you could watch The Office on it, you could watch Friends on it, you could watch the Marvel movies because the Disney deal was on it. Doctor Who, when the peak of popularity for new Doctor Who was when it was on Netflix, I think, and streamed, and people found it that way.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a rubber band effect because a lot of people back in what, like the late aughts, early 2000 teens, um, a lot of people were cutting the cord. Like they were done with cable. It's like, why am I going to pay $80, 100 plus for 1,000 channels when I only watch 4 of them? And so like I did it. Like I cut the cord and I was like, I've got Netflix, I've got YouTube, I've got like maybe one other streaming service. I can't even remember what it was at the time, but like those streaming services, they had me covered. But then all of a sudden, everybody saw that streaming service money, and now it's like Disney Plus, HBO Max, CNN tried to get in the game, but that didn't work out very well for them. Like everybody's starting their own streaming services, and it's like, okay, the reason everybody stopped doing cable was because just getting the streaming services you wanted was cheaper. Getting the streaming services you want is now becoming more expensive, and you're going to have the same problem that the cable companies had real soon. You're going to have massive drop offs in viewership while people consolidate and go, I only need these couple of channels, and everything else can go.
I agree. It's one of the things that really was like the thing with cable TV was when it got too niche, right? There was a cable channel for like such a specific type of show that, like, why do I have this channel? I don't watch this show at all. Why is it in my bundle? And I think sometimes the streaming services, get in it like they're trying to be too niche. That's why I like what Zaslav is doing at Warner Brothers. I think he's going to start licensing out the Warner Brothers content back out to other, like they announced today that they made a deal where Amazon is going to be the streaming home for DC animated content. And everyone was like, why wouldn't that be on HBO Max? And it's because Zaslav got a check, right? He actually is now getting paid for the content they're making, right? When it's on HBO Max, it's, if your subscribers like it, that's great, but you don't get any specific money just for those shows. And that's a revenue stream. That is the way you need to go to actually make a cost-effective streaming service. But now that we've kind of gone over the economics of streaming, which is always a fun topic, I'm sure Valiant Renegade, Culture Casino, and WDW Pro will really appreciate that portion of our show if they watch. I think we can go ahead and maybe enjoy, I should say enjoy loosely, the new Indiana Jones 5 trailer. So let me share that into the screen. That title's just, I see it pop up again. Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, DOD.
DOD. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. You could have put like Altar of Destiny or something. Like, I just keep saying altar because there's always an altar in these things. Like, there's some kind of altar somewhere that they could have referenced in their title. But
Alter. Oh,
that,
yeah, because also altering, alter, it's got that double entendre to it, right? If you're going to alter destiny.
yeah, yeah. Dial of Destiny, I agree with you. It's alliterative in a way that doesn't really fit an Indiana Jones title.
No, it just doesn't fit at all. I was, just when I heard the title, it just felt cringe, right? It just felt like, term gets overused a lot, but it felt cringe. It was a terribly cringe thing. So, oh, all right. So let's get started. Let's go to the beginning here. Make sure. All right.
I miss the desert. I miss the sea. And I miss waking up at
All right. So the first shout out I'm going to give in this trailer is to the overhead projector. Do you remember having to deal with those when you were in school?
Yeah, I thought they were awesome because you could write on stuff and it'd project it up there for you.
Kids today will never know the idea of like trying to take notes from an overhead projector thing that the teacher would be flopping up there.
Yeah, and then he's trying to mark stuff on it with the Sharpies, and like
And
it's written wrong, or you gotta adjust it.
And they were handwritten notes, right? They were like little clear plastic sheets of paper.
Yep.
So that they would project up, and they would just write on it with their overhead, Sharpie pens. And the handwriting of the teacher, if it was bad, you're still in trouble. You're just not going to be able to read
because
it.
you're using a Sharpie on a piece of slick plastic.
And if depending on the teacher, if they were like moving their hand as they were doing it, they could rub some of the words off if they got the cheap pens.
Yep. I love those things.
So it's there out of this entire trailer, the most nostalgia I got watching it was for this overhead projector in a classroom, and that is a Disney fail.
Yeah, and who's talking right now? It's not Indiana Jones.
No, you'll see. And then I don't mind who. And when you see it, you're not going to mind because it's it's a nice callback. And so I'll continue and we'll get there.
Maybe I haven't watched every Indiana Jones movie.
Wondering what wonderful adventure the new day will bring to us. Those days have come and gone.
Oh, I like him.
Yep, John Rhys Davis as Sala. From feature. He's been in. Was it the first Indiana Jones Temple? Was it in Raiders of the Lost Ark? He was in Last Crusade. He didn't have any bit in Temple of Doom. And honestly, Crystal Skull sucked, so I don't even remember if he was in it or not. I don't think he was in that one. But so I'm glad that they brought Saul back. Now, one thing I noticed, and I want you to pay attention to as we're watching it, something that bothered me is the music feels off. There's
not really a whole lot of music to speak of.
Yeah, but there's going to be later in the trailer, and I mean, I guess I'm kind of prejudging it for you, but I want your opinion when you listen. Just listen as you're watching and listen to the music that they play, because I felt it seemed off, compared to normal Indiana Jones that I'm used to. So I want your opinion too, because you're watching fresh. So I'm going to start back up.
Mount. I don't believe in magic. But a few times.
Dude, you found a crystal alien skull in the last movie, and now you're telling me you don't believe in fucking magic?
Well, it's even better than that. Let's talk about
Raiders of the Lost Ark. You watched an Ark melt a bunch of Nazis.
Well, he didn't. Remember, he closed his eyes. Yeah, that was the point.
I'm sure once he opened them, he saw what happened.
That's true. He did.
He poured a chalice of water on his father to
heal the gunshot wound because it was the Holy Grail. He watched a guy wither and age to dust in front of him from drinking the wrong grail. So, and in Temple of Doom,
Chad, I don't believe in magic.
well, it's even better in Temple. Like, even if so, say you chalk up like those to being, the Judeo-Christian God, so maybe that he doesn't count that as magic. How about in Temple of Doom, where the guy reached into his chest, reached into the other person's chest, and pulled out the beating heart, going Kalima, Kalima, and like showed it to him as they were going down there, and then the heart caught on fire when the guy got down to the lava. I would say,
I'm sorry.
I'd say that's pretty magical.
This is like, oh well, we wanted to make. Let me guess. Chad. Are they presenting that Indiana Jones is now a jaded old cynic?
It's set in the 60s. I guess they're going to move on.
Washed up and doesn't have that love or that passion anymore. He's fed up with everything. Like,
wasn't
holy
that the
shit, I didn't know Disney knew how to write characters like this.
That's true. He's Jake Skywalker, Jones.
Jake Skywalker Jones, like of course, this is what they do with every character now. This must be the character assassination episode. This is where Indiana Jones gets character assassinated. Got it. Makes sense.
No, and so that line stuck out, and because I saw on Twitter, WW Pro, like in his reaction, did a tweet where he pointed out, like, doesn't believe in magic, the same stuff, like the list. Let's check off the list of Indiana Jones adventures, and how in the hell are you going to tell me this guy somehow doesn't like believe in the supernatural?
No, it is that they were so desperate to make Indiana Jones say something cynical because they want him to be that kind of character now, that they, without even thinking about it, made him say the one thing that makes no fucking sense based on the character's history.
Exactly. So, and then we can see the de-aging in action here too, right? They're pulling the hood, and that's clearly a younger Indiana Jones right there. Let's. So they de-aged him.
His hair's not even as gray as it was in the previous clip. So
yeah, so that's a de-aged. That definitely looks like he's supposed to be circa Last Crusade. I think that reminds me of, remember in Last Crusade when he posed as a Nazi and gets Hitler to sign the journal.
Yeah, it tracks around Last Crusade time.
Yeah, so I think that was the model for this one. So.
I've seen things I can't explain. And I've come to believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
So that was supposed to be the nostalgia shot, right? Where you see you see the hat, and the whip and everything, and you're like, oh, I'm excited, except I'm not excited.
Who is this man?
I'm her godfather.
Related.
Get back.
Is that it?
Yeah, I want to do, let me do this part again where the music.
I believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
Who is this man?
I'm her godfather.
Related.
It doesn't feel really
Get
Indiana
back.
Jonesy. It just feels like your standard boilerplate Disney adventure music.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was missing some. Why does that one seem like, oh, let's see.
And he says, I'm her godfather, so she must be the new Indiana Jones, right? She's going to be the one that takes up the whip and the fedora.
Yeah, so you know what? For some reason I got a copy of the trailer that was a little stunted. Let's get to the one because the music is in this one, which is probably what's going to get us copyright struck. So, well,
Then let's not do it. We already saw the damn thing.
well, I want your opinion on this. This is important, right? This is the part where here we go.
Things I can't explain.
Here it
I've
is.
come to believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
Are they playing it in a minor chord?
It's definitely wrong.
Well, the tempo is way off.
Who is this man?
I'm her godfather.
Okay, so there was a little bit more on that one, but still, like, yeah, it's.
Get back.
And then this is annoying as fuck. Well done.
Like,
Well done,
What?
everyone who was pointing a gun at Indiana Jones when he ducked. You all just kept firing straight ahead instead of, aiming at him.
yeah, why would keep firing? Yeah, keep was it in Spaceballs? Keep firing, assholes! Like that's what they did. I mean, so this has got nostalgia bait in it. That scene's supposed to be reminiscent of when he shoots the guy during the sword fight in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Except this time
it's
he's
just
the one.
whole flipping the trope on its head thing. I get it.
And
I don't know. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
they're also hiding her. That's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And all right, so now we're into the spoiler territory. I am going to talk spoilers. If you do not want to hear spoilers, please do not listen.
Spoilers for
Spoiler
this
alert
movie that we're
for
talking
this-
about right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The alleged rumors, alleged spoilers, because these are plot leaks that have come out that are worrisome, to say the least. All right, so you ready for the spoilers? Or do you care?
I mean, I'm excited to hear them to see if my prediction about her being the one that takes over is correct.
Well, ding, ding, ding. But it gets better because Slender, the Dial of Destiny, is a time travel MacGuffin. And that's where the young Indiana Jones comes in. Because they travel back in time and they actually start adventuring where it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, old Harrison Ford, and then digitally de-aged young Harrison Ford, who's supposed to be pre-Raiders of the Lost Ark or at World War II, somewhere. They're time traveling. The alleged spoiler for the end of this movie is that during the big climactic boss battle, the villain is about to kill Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and young Indiana Jones jumps in front of the bullets, and so he dies. And what do because time travel logic, what's going to happen to old Indiana Jones once young Indiana Jones gets shot and dies?
Well, he ceases to exist.
Correct. And wouldn't you know it, so they still managed to kill the villain in the act of doing that and saving her, but Indiana Jones, old Indiana Jones now ceases to exist. Young Indiana Jones is laying there dying. And so what do you think is going to happen next? Like what would be the most disrespectful thing for you as an Indiana Jones fan to happen?
I mean, for her to take up the mantle, because apparently it's a mantle.
Yep. She picks up the hat. She puts on the hat. And this is where this is like 4chan Reddit zone where apparently they do a montage where they start digitally inserting her into some of the other Indiana Jones adventures that we've seen.
Right, because Indiana Jones didn't do those adventures anymore. It was actually her.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean that it's amazing to me because character assassinations, nobody liked them. But Disney felt they were insufficient. So then it became character assassinations with completely different characters, usually women, taking up the mantle of the character. And people didn't like that either. So now it's going to be character assassinations with people taking up the mantle of the character and taking away all the victories that the character has chalked up over the years.
Well, I think it's interesting because it's almost a play on what they did in Rise of Skywalker. With the I'm Rey Skywalker ending, where she was usurping the Skywalker family, even though
Yeah,
she's a
well, I mean,
Palpatine.
she did usurp the name, and she did do that, but she didn't take away the victories that he did had, except for the whole victory of defeating the Emperor, because, well,
Yeah, somehow he returned.
yeah, and
So
that is the thing. They want to take away all the victories of the characters that we love, and they want to give them to their strong, powerful women, and apparently. It makes sense to me when it says Dial of Destiny. I was thinking that smacks of time travel because, well, the only way you can really change your destiny is if you can go back and alter things, right?
mm-hmm.
But that is the goal, and they've found a perfect MacGuffin that allows them to not only replace Indiana Jones with a strong, powerful woman, but they have found a MacGuffin that allows them to take all of Indiana Jones's victories away as well and give them to this strong, powerful woman so that you can even say, yeah, well, Indiana Jones actually never did any of that shit. It was her.
And I think that's why this is like Kathleen Kennedy's like dream project here, the Dial of Destiny. The title's
Kathleen
bad.
Kennedy can fuck right off.
Well, that was some direct commentary on that, and I agree. She can. She's done nothing of note on her own to
She's
really
done nothing
justify
of note. The most notable thing she's done is fuck up a whole bunch of series that didn't need her filthy mitts on them in the first place.
Not wrong. Not wrong. Not wrong, Slender. It's just but I don't know what it is about how like you're screwing up your moneymaker. Like, why would you even change the music? Why change the music in it?
I don't know, but and especially when you get to those executive levels like that, like what the fuck does she care? If she's fired, they give her probably like a $4 million golden parachute. Like these people disgust me. They really do. They have no care or respect for the lore that they obtain through what, buying it. They have no care or respect for the lore. They shit all over it, and then they put their own hands in the shit that they just put on the lore, and they swirl it all around, and then they just start slapping it on a wall and go, "Look at my art." No, that's not your art. That's your shit all over my lore. That's what you've just created. Your shit on my lore.
Yes. She was the like associate producer, executive producer on all the Indiana Jones movies. I think she was on going back to even the beginning one. So so you'd think she'd have more. This wasn't even one that she wasn't involved with since she was younger. She's been involved with it. You'd think she'd have respect for it and love it. So it tells me that she really just didn't like it at all from the beginning. And given the last time they worked with Harrison Ford on a Lucasfilm project, they had Kylo stab him unceremoniously and throw him off a railing after he was a deadbeat dad.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Doesn't make me think that they're gonna write this one much better.
you can't have like a guy who was raised by loving parents who, made some mistakes along the way but did their best. You had to have a broken fucking family, fractured every way that it possibly could be. And then kill off the dad because fuck dads, right? We don't like dads.
All right. Well, as bad as I thought that one was, we can switch gears because I think we've run this one into the ground. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Guardians of the Galaxy one.
I will tell you this: when that Indiana Jones comes out, I will probably try to watch it because I'm gonna have words. That might have to turn into a video essay or something. But like, I've watched every Indiana Jones. I don't really remember Temple of Doom because I was really little, and all I remember was that I didn't think it was as good as some of the others. So I might have to go rewatch that. But like, Indiana Jones is one of those ones that's close to the heart. I even played the video games back in the day. I love everything Indiana Jones, and
What was the video game? Was it Atlantis? Right? It was something with Atlantis.
yeah, The Secret of Atlantis. That was probably the best Indiana Jones game. It was one of my favorites.
What is? I don't ever played that one. Was that one on Super Nintendo, right? Or was it a PC?
I had it on PC. It was your standard point and click adventure game, like very much in the King's Quest vein. King's Quest, Curse of Monkey Island, games like that.
King's Quest. Oh, that was like, I remember that game because that it crashed our computer, like our first home PC. My little brother was playing it, and it was like 2 weeks after we had gotten a computer in the house, and I was 10 or 11, and when it crashed, this was on Windows, 3.1 people, a DOS thing, and she handed me the stack of like the 24 3.5-inch discs that made up the operating system, and my mother, to me as like a 10, 11-year-old, goes, "Fix it." And I was like, "I don't know how to fix it." And then she hands me the book and says, "Learn and fix it." I was like, "Okay." So
I'm
I
sorry, I
spent
misquoted. It's actually called Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. It came out from Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Amiga, DOS, Mac operating systems, the Wii. It was on the Wii apparently.
the Wii. They must have re-released the heck out of that. I bet it's on Steam. Everything in the world is on Steam. So
Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis is a point-and-click adventure game developed and published by LucasArts and originally released on June 1st, 1992 for Amiga, DOS, and Macintosh. Almost a year later, it was reissued on CD-ROM as an enhanced talkie edition with full voice acting and digitized sound effects. And I had the one that had full voice acting. It was a pretty darn good game. I enjoyed it.
Nice. I mean, I've been thinking of dabbling back into PC gaming and doing stuff on Steam. Might be something I have to check out, because I do like playing the old games and finally beating them now that I know how to gameplay properly. So let's.
Oh yeah, if you go back and play those old games, especially like the point and click adventure style ones, you will be amazed at how stupid you were when you were a kid.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, this is the puzzle that stumped me. Damn it.
Yep.
All right. So on the plus, all right. So this one I actually enjoyed the trailer. So let's see what you think on that one.
We were gone for quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
Hello, we come in peace.
So right there, they They know who their characters are.
Uh-huh.
They don't try to change what their characters are about. And they get the joke right at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean it sets the tone for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie because the Guardians of the Galaxy are supposed to be kind of silly. This is not one of the more serious characters in the MCU, or groups of characters, I guess. They are a little silly. I thought they were coming to Earth, but now I'm thinking this isn't Earth because it's covered in furries.
I will
And I
be
hope
able
that
to
isn't what Earth becomes.
No, I'm going to be able to explain that from the comic books if you are ready once we're done with the trailer. Because
Certainly.
I'm pretty sure I know where they're going with this planet, and it's not a spoiler once I explain who the character they're showing in the trailer is, because it just makes sense.
So you can educate me on the deep lore.
Don't forget where we came from.
We have been running our whole lives.
So right there is interesting. We've got the crowd shot. They're carrying what looks like Star-Lord. That's Nebula, which is, again, James Gunn gets, I mean, it's his babies, right? He's created this whole universe for the Guardians, so makes sense that we're enjoying this one so far.
Pete, I'm done running.
Did they change Rocket's voice, or did he just say that weird?
No, that's still Bradley Cooper.
So
I think he was
weird.
He was just. I don't think here. We'll back up.
Pete, I'm done running.
I think he was just being more angry.
I guess.
Instead, and less playful Rocket, more angry Rocket.
Yeah, it just sounded kind of weird, but okay. If they didn't change the voice actor, good.
No. So that character is who I'm going to draw your attention to. He's the villain of the piece, and he's the high evolutionary. You wouldn't get that. You're not going to get that from the trailer, but I'm just telling you that's who that is.
What is the high evolutionary's goal?
To evolve species and see how they develop to make sure that basically like apocalypse that the ultimate species is the one that takes over.
Gotcha.
And I think you can start to see where this is going with the planet of animals and Rocket Raccoon and such.
We'll all fly away together. One last time. Into the forever and beautiful sky.
That was our first look at Adam Warlock, who is another deeper cut of the Marvel comic books.
Is he a villain?
No, well, sort of. Yes, no. He's kind of like above.
I feel like at some point somebody should make a joke about Orange Man bad with him.
Yeah. Well, he's more gold, right? You remember? Did you watch part 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah, the one where he like fought his dad or whatever.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, 2 was a little weird. It got way out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the part where Michael Rooker was like, "I'll marry Poppins, y'all." So.
Yeah.
But the gold people that were at the beginning of that movie that they were kind of ripping off is where he comes from. But remember at the end, you didn't read the comics, but at the end of the actual Infinity Gauntlet comic book series, Adam Warlock is the character who got control of the Infinity Gauntlet because he was completely a neutral character. He wasn't good or evil. He could wield it, just neutrally. And that, so that didn't last long. Then they did the Infinity War, and they did like 5 other miniseries after, explaining how it just went south. But that's where it ended in the original comics.
And we'll kill anyone who gets in our way.
No, not kill anyone.
Kill a few people.
Kill no people.
Kill one guy, one stupid guy who no one loves.
Now you're just making it sad.
One stupid guy nobody loves. That.
See, I mean, there's not a lot given away there, but they hit all the right beats for that trailer, and there's nothing jumping out at me that's like, ooh, this looks bad.
No, I mean, it makes me think all the things I liked about the first Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I'm going to like in this Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I didn't see any glaring red flags. With the Indiana Jones trailer, obviously there were several glaring red flags that I saw. This one, no, it looks solid. That being said, it was just a trailer, and I mean, it's a very short little teaser trailer to boot, but well, I guess not a teaser trailer. I mean, we did get some footage and stuff, but like, it wasn't a huge trailer. It didn't give us like a whole lot of plot. I guess you gave me some plot. I'm assuming Rocket has some sort of a fondness of a planet full of humanoid,
No, so
anthropomorphic animal people.
the High Evolutionary creates in the comics, it was like an alternate Earth, an Earth 2, where it's populated completely by evolved animal species.
Right.
Which is why, if you look,
and weirdly, they still had like a New York City skyline and a Statue of Liberty looking thing. And
yeah, and they also, did you notice how the houses and cars look 1970s?
Yeah, I did.
So that's where I think they're going, that he creates the planet, or the world where this is happening, and that's where Rocket Raccoon is going to be originally from. This is where the scientists that evolved, like, that's going to be the storyline. Is this is the the backstory for Rocket, and you find out this is where he got like tortured and altered into being a sentient, super smart raccoon, or trash panda, as Peter Quill would call him.
And
so they're going to be out for revenge.
Because you had mentioned it, I decided I had to go look it up. It is on Steam. You can actually pick up the Indiana Jones collection for 25% off. So it's only $17.96 right now.
What does that collection include?
Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, and Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine.
Nice.
I only played Fate of Atlantis, and I think I played one of the other ones, but looks like Last Crusade was the other one I played. I don't know about these other two, but Fate of Atlantis was really good, and Last Crusade wasn't bad. Wasn't as good as Fate of Atlantis, though. And you don't have to buy the whole collection. You can actually buy them separate, and they're only $6 a piece.
Really?
Yep.
I might have to at least check that out. I've got Steam games I've never played. I know that's something everybody says, like, because they're so cheap. You're like, oh, I'll pick it up for like a couple bucks, and then I don't play it. I did play. Was it X-Wing versus TIE Fighter when they did the remaster and reissued that? And actually broke out the old joystick, thrust master like one. It was fun.
Yeah, you don't want to know about my Steam library.
That's terrible.
There are 233 games in it. I've played a lot of them, but I haven't played 233 of them.
Wow. uh, so so do you see? I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 looks good. I that is one. I know there's a a lot of people are like, don't give any money, don't do that. But that's one I would actually probably go see in the theater and be pleased to spend the money on a matinee showing just fine.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. I don't know that I'll rush out to the theaters to see it. I will probably wait and watch it in the comfort of my my living room. Um, but it doesn't look bad. It looks like you will get a a Guardians of the Galaxy flick out of it, and it doesn't look like they're making any major changes to the formula. It doesn't look like Gamora is going to be captaining the ship or anything. I mean, they should love that franchise anyway, because Star-Lord is kind of a bumbling idiot.
But
Like, in a very endearing way, but he's the bumbling idiot male protagonist that they love, because like you can shit on him and the audience won't get pissed off at you. They'll laugh.
But that's also a function of Chris Pratt's charisma. I think.
Yeah, I think so. There are probably other people who could not pull off the character.
And that's that's something that casting is really important, right? If you're gonna do that, there's a lot of things where you can get away with it when you've got like certain attributes, and you can't get away with it when you have others. And it's the charisma and the just likability. Chris Pratt on screen is likable.
Well, and the love of the character comes through. Like, it doesn't work when the audience can tell that you just hate that character and you're just trying to take him down a peg. And you never see that with Star-Lord. Like, you see the love of the character, even if he's not written intentionally with that love. Like, Chris Pratt channels that love through the character, so he seems, the charisma is there. Everybody who works with Chris Pratt seems to enjoy working with him. So like there's good chemistry between the characters as well. There's nothing malicious there. There's no subtext to what's happening. Whereas when you've got like the Hulk in She-Hulk, there was a whole lot of subtext to what was happening with the Hulk,
Yeah.
And they were shitting on that character left and right.
It's funny because Chris Pratt is probably going to be the first actor that I can think of in a long time, if it's happened, who's got a legit shot at not one but $2 billion movies in the same year. Because, and I know it's weird to say, but Mario, because it's animated, but he's the lead voice. That movie is, I mean, I know the new trailer for that one dropped, and I think that thing looks like it's going to be a license to print money. It's Super Mario Brothers. People sleep on how popular that IP is around the world. It is gigantic, right? So it's gonna make money, and it's done by the same.
Nintendo's IP has kept that company as one of the most competitive console and gaming companies in the world for a long, long time. When in all honesty, performance-wise, they usually are lagging behind PlayStation and Xbox. Like, they are not.
They don't need to have the perform. Like, who needs the benchmarks? Who needs ray tracing?
And that's the thing. It's not their consoles that put them at the top of the game. Although some of their consoles have been pretty sweet, but like their IP is the dominant IP in the gaming sphere. Like, I know there's people out there who like Assassin's Creed and they think that's cool, and I know there's people out there who like Call of Duty and they think that's cool, but like Mario wipes his ass with the money that those IPs bring in.
This is true. And they just opened that Nintendo Land in Japan like a couple of years back. The US version is going to be opening in Orlando soon. With Incredible Universe, or whatever the name of that new park's going to be. They're going to open it in California at Universal in Hollywood. The Super Nintendo, that's going to be, you want to talk about game changer for Disney, is when Universal opens that new park they're building and they have Nintendo IP and Harry Potter IP, and they build the park really nicely and they're letting people go there at a cost-effective rate. Disney is going to get effed in the A because people will turn on them. They're not going to have to take out mortgages on their house to go to vacation and have a good time at a theme park that really takes it to the next level. I mean, the Mario Kart ride, it's going to be fantastic.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Disney is like the juggernaut in the entertainment world and kind of has been for most of our lives, but like, I don't know. They might have overextended. They may have fucked themselves. Like, I can't think of IP that they own that they haven't ruined. And I know there's a lot of people who will poo-poo at that and be like, no, they still have it and they can still make it better. Yeah, you don't seem to realize how much damage that they did to their own IPs with all the shit they've pulled over the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's been bad. And
Disney
you can wave it off, but I guarantee you they're seeing it in their bottom lines.
Well, let's that's a good segue into one of our last fun thing that we do on our show every week, which is the Nielsen streaming ratings. So these are the overall ratings for the week of October 31st, Halloween, right, through November 6th. Can you tell me something that you see about those top 10? Let's see if it jumps out at you as quick as it did to me.
I mean, I don't see Rings of Power up there, and I definitely don't see what was it? House of the Dragon. Those
Correct.
both fell off real quick.
Yep.
Like real quick. But I already told you they would. Well, not House of the Dragon. I'm a little surprised House of the Dragon has already fallen off.
Yep, and but it's something that's a little more obvious. You see the rankings all the way on the left that say 1 through 10, and then you see right next to it is the streaming provider.
Oh, holy shit! Netflix has taken all of it, huh?
Yes. Netflix,
poor Disney, poor Amazon.
All your rankings belong to us. It's like all 10 spots. Man,
are they still anywhere on the original or the movies or anything now?
We have one.
Hulu
made
with the
number 10.
Handmaid's Tale, which I do not understand the appeal. It's fucking hot garbage. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And then acquired and movies. So
acquired. So the one thing that Disney gets is Bluey. Bluey. It is a kids show out of like Australia with Bluey the little dog.
Oh, and The Simpsons. Disney bought The Simpsons? Holy shit.
Well, they bought Fox, remember? So they own The Simpsons now.
HBO Max. Game of Thrones is down. Game of Thrones. Not House of the Dragon. Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because you got to figure once House of the Dragon ended,
they get nostalgic and they go back and start watching Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Again. Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. So in fact, that's the thing where I feel like HBO is probably okay with that because House of the Dragon did its job. It kept people into the streaming service and it made them want to go back to watch their other IP.
Into the streaming service and kept them invested in the Game of Thrones IP in the first place.
And then we've got the movie rankings. And this was Halloween week. And Hocus Pocus 2 managed to get to number 5.
They made a second what is that? Enola Holmes or whatever? That's his
Yep.
sister, right?
Yeah, that's the one with the girl from Stranger Things.
Yeah. Ugh.
And well, Henry Cavill plays Sherlock Holmes, so a lot of the Cavill people are into that franchise just because they like anything that Henry Cavill will show up in.
Gotcha.
So
I don't
mean,
know.
it's.
I wish Henry Cavill was still The Witcher, but I wish they would do The Witcher a little more justice.
I think Henry Cavill wished they would do The Witcher a little more justice, and that's why he left.
I agree. I mean,
but you can. I mean, Enola Holmes was. Look at this. This is a solid hit. Look how bigger its number one. Like at number one, it was over the next competitors.
yeah, over 300. What is that? Collective hours?
Yeah, and it managed to. When all these other things have like full seasons of stuff people are watching, like Manifest was a full season. Enola Holmes at just a movie managed to do almost what a full season of shows was doing.
Yeah, that's true.
But look at that. Look at that. We've talked about this one before. Look what's plugging away right there at number 8 for Netflix.
Apparently NCIS will never die. I hate it. It's the dumbest shit I've ever watched. It is a no way.
What I think is funny is NCIS, like if you remember, was it CSI was like the first one on CBS?
Yeah, CSI and then all of its spin-offs, CSI Miami and CSI
exactly.
whatever, but
I feel like NCIS is like the evolution. It's like almost like an anime, like it's reached the final form of what CSI was meant to be. It's the ultimate procedural that you just put on in the background and don't care about what you're watching.
Yes, I mean that it is for sure. It's also a heaping pile of garbage, but
well, here's a fun because we've talked about this because we live in the Virginia DC metro zone, tri-quad state area.
The DC metro area,
yeah. And one of my favorite things that like it was like season 1 or season 2 of NCIS, and they're supposed to be based out of Quantico, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, and I kid you not, Slender, they said, we've got to run up to DC. We'll be there in about 30 minutes. Which, if someone is living in California and just looks at like how far from the highway Quantico is to DC, yeah, that would make sense. Have you ever, Slender, been able to make a trip from Quantico to DC in 30 minutes in your life? No.
Maybe at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. No, well, because that's when they do construction, though. So you're not getting anywhere. There's always going to be like 3 lanes shut down on 95 or 495.
Yeah, I mean, if it's any time during normal time that people would be out driving, I mean,
this was lunchtime.
Yeah, no, fuck no. The beltways turn into parking lots.
Exactly. It's so I was just like that. And then the other thing is they were supposed to be in I think it was I want to say it was Prince William County, Virginia. And they were running around chasing a guy through an apartment complex that had like 7-story buildings with fire escapes. And I was like, nope. I don't know where you've been, but zoning definitely doesn't allow that in this neck of the woods. So terrible thing right there. But I'm sure in Hollywood where they were probably filming that's what they had to work with, so they went with it.
Yeah.
It's right up there with Walking Dead, having the rolling farmlands of Alexandria.
Yeah, there's not really any rolling farmland to speak of in Alexandria.
No.
It's a pretty urban sprawl.
It is 100% urban sprawl. The wooded zones that you might find where people have houses are still suburban zones, and they're just like maybe some woods there. There's no farms anymore.
No. You don't really get into Virginia's farmland until you're out by Leesburg.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
still farmland once you get to. I mean, the western parts of Prince William has some. You can get some, and we're really getting into the nitty gritty of Virginia geography here. I'm sure that's why we're gonna. Our viewer count is probably dropping at the moment, but yeah.
I
So
mean, our
no,
viewer count has been
Eh.
pretty low.
It is what it is. We're here for the people who really care and watch us on the replay. That's how it
Yeah.
really goes.
I'm fine as long as we get some replay. As long as we get a little replay action, maybe
Yeah.
some likes, some
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah, if people want to thumbs up and subscribe, maybe hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, maybe put a comment, help us with the algorithm. Do all the things that
All
you
the
know,
things we
all
really
the
wish to
things.
do. Really appreciate it. If you
We'd
guys could
appreciate
I got 5 kids to feed.
it. Oh, you caught me. Total Recall is so awesome. But yeah, so like Disney Plus. All right, so we've got Disney Plus and HBO Max. None of them hit anything on the overall. On the originals, only Hulu managed to crack it with Handmaid's Tale. Everything else, like 1 through 9, is all Netflix. You know what? I'm gonna pick a nitpick here. They have Great British Baking Show as a Netflix original. That is 100% like an English show that they license and put on.
Yeah, that's a BBC, isn't it?
Our channel 4 or one of the
It's one of the BBC shows.
it's one of the channels over there.
Yeah.
ITV, BBC, whatever. It's one of the English channels. And so I feel like that should be under acquired.
It should be.
And I mean, it's not like it would do bad at acquired. It would just knock out Disney, The Simpsons, because it would move right up here to where Big Bang Theory is. And so
But then on the flip of that, Game of Thrones shouldn't be under acquired. That is an HBO original.
So that's a weird thing. So they count everything that's an HBO show as acquired for HBO Max because they're separate business entities. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Isn't that weird how that works? It's weird.
It's almost like they're fucking around with the numbers.
Yeah, because if that had been on there as original instead of acquired, there's definitely some weeks where it would have beaten Lord of the Rings pretty solid.
Oh, probably, yeah.
No, we were looking at it. Remember, we had.
Oh yeah, I know. And it was definitely down in the 400s several times.
I'm just amazed. Like Gilmore Girls is still number 4 on acquired. Like these are all just people. Look at this: Blacklist, Gilmore Girls, Grey's Anatomy, NCIS, and even HBO Max. It's Friends, The Big Bang Theory, The Simpsons. People there is a large segment of people with streaming services who just want to have the content that they know in the background.
I mean, yeah, I can see it. I have all the seasons of The Office on my Amazon, in my Amazon library. And my daughter will just turn on The Office and just let it autoplay while she does something else entirely because she finds it funny.
It's it reminds me. You remember when we had in the faraway times when we all had cable, and the shows would just be on in syndication, and they would air them in blocks. Like they'd air them at for 3-4 hours at a time. Like it would be a 3-hour block of Friends or a 3-hour block of Seinfeld.
Or if you'll recall, there used to be TGIF.
Oh, I love TGIF.
Where you got all that family friendly programming all back to back to back to back. Full House.
It was Full House, Family Matters, Boy
Yeah.
Meets World, and Step by Step.
Yeah, and they changed it up a little here and there. I think there were some other shows that got trialed there a few times.
I think Hanging with Mr. Cooper got put in there sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But it used to be like that's how you did it, right? Because you time slots mattered. Time slots don't matter anymore. Like, I go and get what I want to see when I want to see it.
Do you think on-demand show like television, like streaming, is good or bad for shows? Like, because I was listening to Midnight's Edge, and they had on, I forget who they were talking with, but they were pointing out, like, in the old days, a show would be on like 7 to 10 episodes, and they'd take a little hiatus break usually, and that's when the producers of the show would get feedback from the audience to hear what they actually liked and didn't like, and they would usually retool the show when it came back from hiatus to emphasize the parts people were enjoying, or and fix areas that were problems. And you don't get that with streaming. If you've got a problem show like Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, that show is going to be a problem from episode 1 through its finale, and there's not going to be any course correction.
Well, I mean, the other issue you run into is it is the big bad internet, and I mean, how do you filter out the noise? Like, you don't know who's honestly watching your shows. You don't know if they're giving you constructive feedback or trolling. You know, it's so hard to cut through the noise and actually, you know, filter down and get the valuable constructive feedback. And now I'm not saying you shouldn't try. I have the distinct impression that there are a lot of people who are in these positions, especially in places in Hollywood and Disney and etc., who just don't even fucking care. But focus groups don't really exist anymore, do they? Like, maybe they need to go back to that. Get some people to come into a building and watch a screening in person, and then ask questions to them about that screening afterwards. Because honestly, if you're looking in the comments sections, you're listening to the wrong people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's value in the comments, but I don't know that you'd get a fair shake on anything that was on like a streaming service. So maybe a focus group setup would probably be more honest, provided you got an actual. There's so many people who just want to work their own angle.
Yeah.
I would be worried about that. Like, you know, but I know they still do test screenings of movies. 100% they still do that, because there's been leaks of the test screenings that were done for Black Adam, the Batgirl movie that got canceled, the Flashpoint movie that is still in all sorts of question marks because of the actions of the lead party, Ezra Miller. Star Wars allegedly had test screenings that were good and bad. So and even the Indiana Jones movie that we were looking at the trailer for, there's leaks. A lot of, allegedly, these leaks on the endings and the plot are coming from people who attended test screenings and saw it that way.
Well, I guess we'll see. There's I mean, I'm sure there is a way to extract value from, say, comments sections and everything else. You need like a data scientist or a statistician or someone who can put that shit in like a nice like waterfall diagram of some kind, so you can actually start to scope out the comments instead of just seeing the ones that really, really bugged you or really, really made you happy, you know?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, with all the data that's available, there's probably a pretty easy way to get people who can build that I know that, like, if you're on a streaming service, you can pinpoint like the exact minute people stop watching your show. And I know there was a rumor when Falcon and the Winter Soldier was out that there was a specific scene, in one of the episodes where people just tuned out and hit stop. And I was like, I get that. It's got to be interesting to be able to get to that level of detail to know the exact minute that stuff is being just, canceled, turned off, shut down, changed.
Yep.
So, I mean, sometimes I wonder if we're really better off by having all of that immediacy.
Mm.
But then, we
I
do get
like
some
I
good
said, I
shows.
think there's ways to extract value. I just don't know if they've figured out exactly how to do it yet.
Yeah. So, well, that was an interesting topic of discussion. We'll have to kind of follow up with that one, see where we think things will go.
All right. Seems like we're probably ready to wrap up here.
I think that's a good spot to kind of leave things off. Let me go ahead and stop.
Well, there's
sharing.
one other thing I'd like to throw out before we do.
What's that?
If anybody listens to this and is a fan of Literature Devil or Dr. Alpha, his comic, it's got 13 days left on its Indiegogo. It's 80% funded. It's got about $5,000 left to go, and I think people should fund it because I thought the first Dr. Alpha was a pretty darn good comic, and the second one looks pretty good too. So if it doesn't get funded, I don't get my comic. So I'm gonna plug it a little.
Well, that's certainly a good plug. Literature Devil, the comic Dr. Alpha was fantastic. The first one, we did a review of it, and we had slight critiques. Like, I mean, there's never been something that's perfect, so don't worry about that. But it's definitely worth the investment, and I would hope that our people who are fans of our show maybe have already backed it. But if not, it's on is it Indiegogo, right? Dr. Alpha on Indiegogo.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's got about 13 days left. So, like Wednesday of like the 14th or the 15th of this month or something around there.
All right, so shameless plug for Literature Devil. Go check it out, watch it. If you were the kind of people who are enjoying our show, then you would definitely love the comic that Literature Devil is putting out there, and he's really committed to it being a fantastic product. He really makes sure that you're going to get a good value for what you're getting, what you're putting down money wise.
Okay, now I'm done. Now I don't have anything else to plug.
Now you go. All right. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming and watching our show. I know that we were also live streaming over on the Twitters, and we had some viewers over there who were making some comments. So I hope they enjoyed the show as well. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.